Sometimes art imitates life and life imitates art. The latter seems to be the case this year as the rock industry pulls a spinal tap and drummers quit or get fired en masse. Let's talk about it. Hello and welcome to Tim Conley Drums. So it seems that more than a dozen rock and metal artists have replaced their drummers in 2025 alone. Some of these drummers have served multi-decade tenures, while others have only lasted a few years. Some change-ups were handled amicably behind closed doors, and others were much messier and in the public eye. Welcome to Tim Conley Drums. We are going to talk about 11 rock bands that got rid of their drummer in 2025. So what the hell is going on with drummers being replaced in bands in 2025, and we're on August 2nd. So many bands have already replaced their drummer in 2025, and it's weird because it seems to be just the drummer. The drummer is getting targeted. It starts off with Foo Fighters. Josh Freese was let go from the Foo Fighters, and they have just announced a new drummer who is the drummer from the Nine Inch Nails. And his name is Lon Rubin. I think I'm pronouncing that right. I could be pronouncing it wrong. It's L-L-A-N. I think that's Lon. So the Foo Fighters get rid of Josh Freese. He goes to the Nine Inch Nails. The Nine Inch Nails drummer released their drummer, and he goes to the Foo Fighters. So there's just it's like a sports franchise. They just traded up drummers and traded up contracts and whatever. It's kind of strange, but I mean, I'm not saying that's that unusual. Bands do get rid of their musicians and replace them. The sad part is that these bands, there's obviously tension or something is going on, and it's not the playing ability. Josh Freese is one of the top drummers in the world, and he was playing extremely well with the Foo Fighters, but it seems like there was some incompatibility in the band. Obviously, through touring and getting to know other musicians, I guess Dave Grohl just felt that Lon was a better fit. Not drumming wise, nobody's going to be better than Josh drumming wise, but in terms of the time on the bus, the time during sound check, the time during lunch, the time with the meet and greet with the fans, the time with the press, whatever, the downtime, the time when they're not on stage, which I might add is the majority, absolute majority of the time on tour is off the stage. I'm guessing that they just decided that he is a better fit off the stage, because there's no way in hell Dave Grohl is going to come up and say that the guy from the Nine Inch Nails is a better drummer than Josh. There's no way. He can do the job, but he's not better than Josh. There isn't a drummer on the planet that can do what Josh does. What he brings to the table is something of, on the top podium level of playing. But anyway, of course, we had Nicko McBrain retire. Now, that situation I was actually very upset about. I understand Nicko's not a young man. He's got to be about 75 years old or something. He retired in December of 2024, and they replaced Nicko with Simon Dawson, who plays in Steve Harris's band, British Lion. Now, Dawson, I'm going to be honest with you, I have not seen him play. I'm really disappointed that Nicko retired, but I understand. It's just from a fan perspective. I love Nicko's playing so much that when he decided to give it up and they hired the new drummer, I have not even checked him out. I haven't even heard Iron Maiden play. Now, I will, but I'm still in mourning for Nicko. He's still alive, obviously. It's not a health thing. He just decided that he wanted to pack it in. And I get it. But it's just disappointing if you're a hardcore Iron Maiden fan like me. Next up is poor Zach Starkey. The longtime Who drummer and son of Ringo Starr was fired from his gig not just once, but twice in 1 month. In April, The Who announced that Starkey had been dismissed after 29 years as a touring member. Then they walked that statement back 3 days later, citing communication issues, which is bullshit. But in May, Pete Townsend confirmed that Starkey had once again received the boot, and The Who had recruited Scott DeVowers, the drummer in Roger Daltrey's solo band, to play during the rock legend's purported final shows. Well, this is bullshit. Now, obviously, we don't know the inner workings of what goes on in these bands because we're not there. But Zach, you know, from what I hear, he is a wonderful person and a very loving and very close to the music kind of a guy. But for whatever reason, The Who decided to get rid of him and move on. So that's another situation where we really just don't know what's going on. It's kind of sad because I know that Zach was brokenhearted, but there's rumor that he may go back to the next band on my list here that's replacing their drummer, and that is Oasis. So a lot of fans speculated that Zach would be taking up the seat with Oasis when they launched their tour in July of 2025, but that was not the case. So Zach wasn't behind the kit, nor was their last touring drummer, Chris Sharrock. So a lot of speculation as to who was going to get the Oasis gig. So the drum duties fell to Joey Waronker, and his resume includes REM, Roger Waters, and the 2024 collaboration with Liam Gallagher and John Squire. So there's another change-up gig. I'm not really familiar with him, to be totally honest, but Oasis has also decided to go with somebody different. Now, somebody else that surprised me changing their drummer, because again, the drummer is another world-famous drummer, is Bob Dylan. Now, Bob Dylan kicked off his 2025 tour, and he's still touring, and his drummer was Jim Keltner. Very, very famous studio drummer, Jim Keltner. The guy's bio of hit songs and songs that he's played on and artists that he's played with is a mile long. He's one of those guys. He replaced them with a real surprise drummer, in my opinion, and that's David Letterman's old drummer. I think he was the drummer for like 25 or 30 years on the David Letterman show, Anton Fig. I had the privilege of meeting Anton once in New York City when I was a student there. I was in his drum room. Now, how the heck did I get in Anton's drum room? Well, I was there because my teacher shared a drum room with Anton, and my teacher would occasionally let me practice in their room. So they had this room that they shared, Anton Fig and Marvin Smitty Smith. I didn't study extensively with Marvin, but I took a few lessons with him, and Marvin and him shared, and Marvin on a couple of times let me go and practice there. And one time when I was there with Marvin, Anton showed up, and it was cool to meet him. But anyways, so Anton Fig is the new drummer for Bob Dylan. Now that kind of surprises me because Jim Keltner, I mean, he is another one like Josh. He's at the top of his game, but like I said, sometimes personalities clash. People just can't always get along. Now, one of the most famous ones of the summer was Tim Herb Alexander leaving Primus. Now, again, this is a situation, and this is another common theme in the bands that I'm listing off today. He just got tired of touring. He's been playing in the band since the beginning, founding member. He just got tired of touring, and he just decided to pack it in. Now, this was a bit of a surprise when he packed it in. I think that it was a situation where he just said to the band, I've had enough. I need time with my family, my body, my hands, my arms, everything is my depleted, my health is down, and he just decided to pack it in. But this became an opportunity for Primus. They did a bunch of YouTube videos showcasing their journey to find a new drummer. And I watched every single one of those videos, and it was actually really interesting who they got to come out. A lot of the drummers were completely unknown. And the reason is they had 6,000 applications, because rather than doing the usual thing, which is, collect up a bunch of famous drummers and figure out who they're going to pick, they actually put the auditions out to the world. Submit a video and tell us why you want to be in Primus. 6,000 applicants. Imagine going through that. Oh my God, what an ordeal. They narrowed it down. I think they narrowed it down to, like, I don't know, 15 guys, and then they did the videos of each one of those auditions. And some of them, like Thomas Lang, really shocked me. That shocked me. I was also shocked he didn't get the gig. He did not get the gig, which really surprised me. So who got the gig with Primus? Well, basically an unknown drummer by the name of John Hoffman. He was a YouTube drummer. He played in a band in Shreveport, Louisiana, and he played in a band called Gypsy Punk Country Grumble Boogie. That's quite a mouthful. Anyways, he auditioned, he got through the process, and he looked like a great drummer. I watched his audition, and he did seem like a good fit. He's humble, and the guys liked him. And I can't emphasize enough, when you're auditioning new musicians for your band, playing is important, but getting along with them, because like I said earlier, the downtime on tour is much, much, much greater than the playing time. So you've got to be able to stand. Can I be around this guy? Can I stand being around this guy for almost 24 hours a day? Because, I mean, even though you're sleeping, obviously part of that, you're still in the space. So a lot of times bands are on buses, they sleep on buses, and they're in hotel rooms, they share rooms, and you've got to be able to get along. So that's a huge thing. So obviously he did a great job, not only in the audition of playing, but he also sold himself as someone that, hey, we really like this guy and we can handle being around him. So another band where the drummer just decided, I can't deal with this touring anymore. I've been touring for so long, I'm sick of it, is Godsmack's drummer, Shannon Larkin. He just decided that I've had enough. I don't want to tour anymore, and he's just burned out with the whole process. He wants to spend time with his family. Also some health issues in terms of, just the body aches of playing night after night, especially playing in a band like Godsmack. I love Godsmack. They're an awesome band. Shannon's a fantastic drummer, but he has decided to pack it in, and that's sometimes what happens. Drummers are just getting tired of the grind of the tour. That seems to be the common thing. These are also older drummers. I mean, I'm not exactly sure how old Shannon is, but he's been in the band a long time. I do know that. So Godsmack is out on tour. They've decided to fill in with a drummer by the name of Will Hunt, who's playing in Evanescence, who Josh Freese was the drummer for years ago. So, I mean, it's this circle of drummers that just one leaves, one replaces them. It's just unbelievable the way that there's this almost a circle that goes on of drummers leaving and being replaced, but they're all kind of interrelated. It's a bizarre thing. And it seems to be more common now than it was in the past. Now, this next one is a difficult one. Canadian rock band in April, the New Pornographers, they fired their drummer, Joe Siders. He had been with them since 2014 after he was arrested and convicted for possession of child sexual abuse material. Oh my God. Everyone in the band is absolutely shocked and horrified by this whole thing, regarding the news of the charges and the conviction. And the band's statement was that they have immediately severed all ties with him, and the hearts go out to everyone that was impacted by his actions. The New Pornographers have not yet announced a new drummer at this point. I mean, isn't that unbelievable, with the name of a band called the New Pornographers and their drummer gets dinged for child sex pornography? That's just messed up. That's really upsetting, and I'm sure the guys in the band would be devastated to hear that. I had a similar thing happen to me. I have not talked about that yet. I have not done a video on that, but I am going to do a video about that at some point, where a member of one of the bands that I played in had a similar thing happen to them, and they ended up getting convicted and going to jail. But that's a whole separate thing that I'll talk about another day. So another huge band that decided to part ways with their drummer recently is Guns N' Roses. They decided to fire Frank Ferrer, their longest standing drummer of 19 years. They fired him in March, and apparently it was amicable, the firing, but that's Guns N' Roses' statement. You'd have to talk to Frank to find out the inner workings. I'm sure Frank's got a few stories being around Duff and Slash and Axl and, you know, the rock star ego and all that. But they've already replaced them with Duff's solo band drummer. Here we go again, Isaac Carpenter. So this seems to be the trend. Let's fire our regular drummer and let's get in the solo artist, whatever, you know, whoever's in the band that has a solo career. Let's hire that drummer to now not only be in the solo band, but let's hire him to be in the main band. This seems to be an absolute trend that's happening this year. Now, I have to admit, I'm not really familiar with either one of those drummers. I'm not familiar with Frank, and I'm not familiar with Isaac. So I can't really comment on the two of them. I'm just sort of reporting news at this point. I can't really report on, you know, the inner workings of what's going on there. Nobody really can. It's another situation where who knows what's going on? Who knows? Maybe Frank just decided he was tired of the whole situation and he didn't actually come out and say, I quit. But Guns N' Roses just decided to save him the trouble and just fire him. Who knows? I mean, I've been fired from bands shadily, and it's there's a lot of underhanded stuff that goes on in the music business where you get fired and you don't even know it's coming. So the last one I'm going to talk about, a less popular band, Black Flag. Founding member and guitar player Greg Ginn came out and you know, at a live show with a completely new band. And this shocked the Black Flag fans because it was kind of out of the blue. He just showed up with a completely new band, and the drummer, his name is Bryce Weston. Now, I don't know who Bryce Weston is. That's the new drummer. I don't really know who it is. But again, it's a situation where there wasn't really any information as to why Ginn did this. I guess he just decided to do a fresh start with all new people. It wasn't just the drummer that he replaced the entire band, and now he's out on tour with a fresh new look. Again, I don't really have any details. They've already begun writing and rehearsing together, and they're planning on putting out some new music. So we'll have to see what changes in that band for those of you that are familiar and fans of the band Black Flag. All right, guys. Well, I've been through a lot of information here today. I'm just going to give you my 2 cents on the summary of this whole thing. It seems to me that drummers in 2025 have really been getting a little bit of the shaft here. I mean, guys being replaced, guys deciding to quit. It's just, there's so much going on in the music world right now amongst these rock bands that, you know, you just shake my head and wonder what the hell is going on. Well, I think what's going on is that the grinding out of the tours part, guys that have been doing it for a long time, they've just decided to pack it in. Sometimes, like I said earlier, bands just don't get along, and as a result, they decide to fire one drummer, replace him with another. You can't go on tour without the drummer, so he's got to be replaced. And like I said, hopefully the new drummer can get along in the band. I think out of all of them, the ones that really bother me are Josh, Nico, Tim, and Zach. Those ones actually kind of bother me a little bit. Now I realize that 2 of them are firings, 2 of them are retiring. I understand the retiring. I totally get it, but it still kind of bothers me because they're such great and legendary drummers. But at the same time, I respect what they're doing. As far as the firing goes, well, who knows? Because we don't really know what goes on the inside of these rock bands. But I can say from my own experience, playing in many, many, many bands, touring, etc., that things can sometimes get crazy when you're out on tour. I remember reading a story about Glenn Frey and somebody else in the Eagles actually leaning over to each other and basically saying that they're going to fight as soon as we got 3 more songs, and then we're going to have a fight. So planning to scrap backstage while on stage. At least they didn't fight on stage, but they were planning it, leaning over at each other. Yeah, 3 more songs, and then I'm gonna beat your ass. I think that's crazy, but hey, it's the dynamic of the music world. Thanks a lot for watching, guys. Keep drumming. Don't quit your band. Hopefully you guys don't get fired from whatever band you play in. All right, guys. See ya. Keep drumming. See ya.